Hello, and welcome to another episode of Mad Scientist Brewing Beer Education Series. I am filming this episode on a very, very cold Maine day, so I thought it would be appropriate to have a very cold style beer, which is the Eisbock. This is a very unique beer and hard to come by, especially in the US. I don't know if you could legally get it here, and I'll explain why a bit more later. I have a sample today that I actually made myself in 2020. So that's what I'm drinking, and it's quite appropriate for a very cold weather like this today here with this Arctic chill coming into Maine. So let's dive into the Eisbock. All right, so let's look at the vital statistics of the Eisbock. This is a very high ABV beer, anywhere from 9.0 to 14.0% alcohol by volume, which we classified as high to very high alcohol. It will have an original gravity of 1.078 to 1.120, or 18.9 to 28.1 degrees Plato, and a final gravity of 1.020 to 1.035, or 5.1 to 8.8 degrees Plato. It has an IBU of 25 to 35, which has a very low perceived bitterness, and an SRM of 17 to 30, which will give it kind of a pale amber to a brown color. All right, so for some sensory notes in regards to the Eisbock, for appearance, it's got a deep copper to dark brown color with some ruby highlights, usually. Very good clarity where it is a lager. You have an off-white to ivory head with moderate to poor head retention, although I poured this a little while ago and the head's still pretty good on it, I must say. As far as aroma, the main components, you have a rich, intense malt aroma with some alcohol presence. It's going to smell bready, toasty with some faint caramel or chocolate, and often dark fruit notes as well. And there's actually very little hop aroma, or usually none at all. This is very much a malt forward beer in every sense. Likewise for flavor, you get that rich, sweet malt flavor that's balanced with a significant alcohol presence. Now, the malt can have some toasty qualities to it with some caramel and the significant dark fruit ester flavor. You won't get any hop flavor really, just enough bitterness that it balances out the malt. And like any other German lager, you have a nice clean fermentation profile, so you don't have any other esters in there, aside from a little bit that comes across from that dark malt flavor. As far as mouthfeel, this is a very full-bodied beer with generally low carbonation. There's significant alcohol warming, especially when you're getting 12 to 14% in here. Mine happens to be about 12%. But it's important that that's not coming across as harsh at all. So you should be getting kind of this gentle warming without it being too intense to really be able to enjoy it. All right, looking at the ingredients for the Eisbock, you are looking at the same things that would be used to make a Doppelbock, which was kind of the origin of the Eisbock beer. So that would be using Pils, Vienna, and Munich malts with traditional German hops and yeast. What makes the style unique is the freezing process that concentrates the beer's flavors. So Eisbock originated in the Franconia region of Germany in the town of Kulmbach in the late 1800s. So supposedly the story goes is that somebody was brewing a Doppelbock beer, which is one of the strongest at the time German lagers. And it was accidentally left outside when it was very cold and the beer started to freeze a little bit. And when this was discovered, they had the ice and then they had the concentrated rest of the beer. So they took that out of the ice and drank that and found that it was very smooth and delicious. So they decided to keep this as a style. So that's been fairly unique to that region of Germany. And you don't really see too much of it anymore. It's a bit of a pain to add that extra step. Not to mention that as far as here in the US, it is not strictly legal for breweries to make this because the freezing step is considered distillation process by the ATF. So you would need a special license that brewers don't really want to have to deal with. So you really rarely see Eisbock produced anywhere. To compare that with other beers, it's not just like a stronger version of a Doppelbock. And some Doppelbocks actually can have a higher ABV than Eisbock beer. Really, what you're looking for with an Eisbock is that it has a lot of the flavors of the Doppelbock, but everything is more concentrated. So you have that strong malt, you have um, the alcohol warming not overwhelming, but enough there that it's going to be an overall more pronounced flavor than with the regular Doppelbock. And it is not as thick, rich, or sweet as wheat wine, if you should find one of those as well. If you do find some commercial examples, they're probably going to be from Germany. So the Kulmbacher Eisbock, which is purported to be the original, and Aventinus Eisbock is another one. All right, that is all I have on Eisbock. So I hope everyone is staying warm and having something enjoyable to drink. So until the next time, cheers.